Okay guys, what's going on boys? NealGuides here, welcome back to the video. Now in today's video we do have the formation tier list. Now I'll be honest, I wanted to make this video in October, of course the one who actually started the tier list. I've asked him permission of course, but I didn't release it because I wanted to wait until January to see what formation would work well, and I kind of understand the game properly now, so I know what's meta, what's not. So these are going to be for this year. So if you see for example a formation, it'll only be god tier meta, first of all, if it's good both offensively and defensively, and it's the creme de la creme. Then we have meta, sub, good or sub meta, average, and would not use. It's never a bad formation, but generally speaking, we're going to take into account this FIFA. And first of all, the correct traffic light is meant to be red's meant to be bad. I can't believe red's always on the top. I don't know what kind of traffic light system people have been using, but we left it in this order. But let's just get started anyway. I'm rambling too much. Let's go straight into it. So, the first formation. We're going to put it in this one here first, and then we're going to move it along, okay? The 4-1-2-1-2 second variation. I would say this is probably a very underrated formation. The 4-4-1-1 second variation. It's the one with this. So I'm gonna do these together. I'm gonna do these together. The 4-4-1-1, I would say I will do it like this. Now, a lot of people are gonna say to me, "What are you talking about?" But they're basically 4-2-3-1s. The only thing is, they don't have CDMs. One has a cam, one has a striker, the other one has a centre forward, who has a striker. The problem is that I wouldn't want to consider them meta, but they are still a meta formation. They're not the creme de la creme top tier, and it's definitely not god tier, but it's a good formation. So we're going to put them both in good sub meta, okay? So it's a lot of people don't realize, but most formations in the game are very similar. But these formations are good both in attack and both in terms of defense. Putting any below this would be an insult to this formation. The way to look at, and I'm going to give you a bit of an insight, the way to look at these formations is a 4-2-3-1 without the CDMs. If they had CDMs, they would be here, but no CDMs, they go there. The 4-1-2-1-2, the wide variation, a very underrated formation. Think of the four. Now let me give you an example, okay? If you like to play the 4-4-2, but you feel it doesn't have a cam, this is the formation to use, because you have a left mid, right mid, two strikers, and instead of two CDMs, you have a cam. Now, this formation used to be amazing in FIFA 18. I used to have cut inside left mid and right mid FIFA 18. I love it. It was like one of the best formations for creating havoc in FIFA 18. So if you like the 4-4-2, but you want that cam, then the 4-1-2-1-2 wide formation is a very good formation. It's not god tier pro meta because I only want to keep the creme de la creme there, but it definitely is one of the most meta formations that's very much underlooked. It's the 4-4-2 with the cam without exposing any of your back five, because you can have the 3-5-2, but of course you do lose a player. We're going to go with the 4-5-1. I'm going to put this in, okay, for me personally it would be would not use, okay? But it definitely goes in. Okay, I'm going to put it for average, for the masses. And the reason for this is, this could actually be a meta formation for a lot of players. For me, it's average. Now, I made a video on this. People are going to be like, oh, hang on, Neil. Didn't you make a video on this? It is true. This creates a 3 vs 2, because you have a left mid, a right attacking mid, and a right back against a 4-4-2 any formations. You have a 3 vs 2 guaranteed against anyone's defense. It's amazing. But I don't go down the wing. I don't cross the ball. I like to build up for the middle. But if you do like it, it will be a good formation. Now, I prefer a two-striker formation. I think for me, for a formation to be meta, unless it's like a cam and a striker, you have to have two-striker formation. So I would put it on would not use for myself, but I think it goes to the average because I can still use it. But if you like the wing play, you'd probably consider this meta, to be honest. And this give you a bit of a, let me say it with a grain of salt, because this is my personal opinion. Then we go to this formation. Obviously, that goes to would not use. Then we go to, of course not. That goes to god tier pro meta. Listen, every single FIFA, this will be the best formation, period. You know, if you read my titles correctly, it's the best formation in the game. You know, you have two CDMs, you have a cam, lamb, ram. It's basically a 4-3-3 with 2 CDMs. You have a cam there. The cam can be a second striker. You put him on stay forward. You've got like a centre forward striker system to striker formation. When you defend the 2 CDMs. You have your bank of 3 and your striker. It's the only formation where you can basically defend in a 5 midfield with your 2 CDMs, your 3 cams, and you can even bring a striker back to defend in a 6 midfield. But when you go forward, it's the only formation you can actually attack with 6 players, because you can put both CDMs on get forward or 1 CDM stay back. Then you have the 3 cams, the striker and the midfielder, both in terms of attack, in terms of defense. Anyone can use this formation. Now the only caveat with this formation is it never had 2 strikers. But if you had 2 strikers, then it would be a 4-2-2-2. Because the difference between with a 4-2-2-2, chap? For anyone that's wondering, right? This is a quick question, a quick test. What's the difference between a 4-2-2-2 and a 4-2-3-1? I'll give you 5 seconds. Down below, write it down. What do you guys think the difference is? The difference is that one has a cam, one has a striker. But I wanted to keep the cam, so I devised the best formation that's ever been created, with the striker becoming a centre back becoming a striker. Now, people thought that was ludicrous, but trust me, one day a pro player would use that formation and they will change the way FIFA is being played with the 4-2-3-1, because that centre back, especially when Team of the Year comes out, like a Marcelo, FIFA 19 Team of the Year, when that guy becomes a striker, there's no formation where you have 2 CDMs, a cam, a ram and a striker, and a centre back becoming a striker. It ends up becoming 2 CDMs, 3 cams and 2 strikers. Basically, Guardiola's formation. The best formation on paper in terms of attack, but you add that centre back during the attack, it's a different class. Best formation in the game, I would say. But wait till I release that centre back during the attack, because you don't want. Because you see, if you lose a CDM and he goes forward, then you have cam, 3 midfielders and a CDM, but you get done on the counter attack. And sometimes you want to recycle, you want 2 CDMs. So the idea behind the centre back during the attack. That's why I used to use Ferland Mendy there, the 5-star Mendy. I used him there in FIFA 20 because he's such a good top tier card. So definitely he goes in there, not a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, 4-2-1. Stay tuned for that 4-2-3-1 video as well, coming soon. 4-3-3. This year, I would say good sub-tier meta. I think with this 4-3-3, it's a top-tier formation, but I just prefer the 2 strikers. You could argue if you prefer the possession-based tiki-taka style, you can put it in meta, but I'll be honest, I think there's better formations than that, and I think if this goes there, then these 2 have to go there as well. So we're going to put this in sub-meta, good formation. Not widely used, but a very underrated formation. 3 centre mids. But I just prefer a 2-striker formation. If this had because this has a CDM, it really does make it very much usable. You know what? I should have put probably a tier in between good and meta, maybe as in, I should have called this best meta and then good. But yes, definitely one of the top tier formations. I would probably say we're going to put it in good, just because I want meta to be the best of the best, and then we have creme de la creme, if that makes sense. 4-4-2, I don't think anyone has any objection. The best formation in terms of attacking, the best pressing formation in the game. It's the only formation where you basically cover every area of the pitch. You have 2 strikers there to press your opponent's 2 CDMs. Your man-for-man marking everyone, as Mr. Wenger would say. I think he said it covers 80% of the pitch, and he's correct with that. One of the best formations in the game. You only don't cover that role, but you can't anyway. In defense, 4-4-2. It used to be even more overpowered back in FIFA 20, before the strikers used to come, and then when you used to use them on comeback and offense, they used to basically stay outside the box. It used to be at a different level, that formation, but it's still every FIFA, every single year, the best formation, the best pressing formation as well in the game. Always will be. These 2 formations together will never ever be considered a subpar or a sub-meta formation. There will always be god tier in every FIFA. Doesn't matter, it's FIFA 95, FIFA 25, FIFA 22. It makes no difference. 3-1-4-2, my blitz formation. Now, if it was last year, it would be there. You know, it's not as powerful as it once was. It's just not as powerful as it once was. I don't know why they made some changes, but this is the only formation where you can have 6 strikers as actual strikers, like 6v4 opponents. So if you want to outnumber your opponent's defense, this is the striker the formation to use. You have 6 players on the front line up against your 4 opponent's defenders, or 5. It's the only formation that guarantees that. But just because of the way the through ball meta is, we put this on good sub meta. But if this was last year or the year before, or even FIFA 19 when I create blitz formation, it would be in meta. But just because it's been nerfed indirectly, maybe inadvertently, it's not meant to be nerfed, but maybe they made a mistake. But yes, we put that on sub good meta. As I said, we should have made it a middle category, but oh well. 5-3-2 meta. You know, this formation, this and a 5-2-1-2. You know, when I made this formation in FIFA 19, you know, it's funny because, you know, for some reason, no one trusts what I say. But then when the masses do it, they trust it after. I remember Dull and Mike used this formation in FIFA 20 and it flipped the script. And I remember I was crying in FIFA 19 saying to everyone, this is the meta. 5-2-1-2 and a 5-3-2 was the real meta in FIFA 19. Why? Because when I discovered FIFA 19 and the tactics changed, these guys were unmarked down the wing. So in FIFA 19, it was the beach ball meta, the El Tornado flick up meta. Now think about this. If you could have a formation where you can get the ball to a left back and right back guaranteed and then cross the ball in, your opponent's in serious trouble and you're going to be almost undefendable. And the way to defend the El Tornadoes was to press the guy and stop the ball going down the wing into those areas, and then pressing him when he does a flick up. Now, one pro player, I'm not going to say who, was asked, watched my video, stumbled across it, the 5-2-1-2 and a 5-3-2 in FIFA 19, and asked me about it. And he was a top tier FIFA player, and I said to him, if he uses this, it would be basically unmarkable. And how I knew this, because I tried it, and I even used it in my 15k team against pro players on the casual level. I played a couple of pros a couple of times with this formation, and it was very hard. And if you give it a pro's hands, they're going to be even better with abusing mechanics. That player didn't use it in the end. I can only assume that he didn't want to use it and have regrets of not using a typical system. And if he, for example, ended up losing, he'd probably say it's because I used this formation. But FIFA 19, this would have been, you know, I wasn't advising anything, but if I was a coach for a pro player in FIFA 19, I would have kept my mouth shut, use this formation in the pro scene on the final group stages, the final Swisses, and it would have changed the way that game was played. Thank God I was small, and thank God no one picked up that formation early on. But meta formation, defend 5-3, and the left back, right back on get forward, you end up attacking in a 3-3-4 system. Another Pep Guardiola system with left centre mid, right centre mid, creates those overlaps as well. This would be the Guardiola formation. Think about the left back and right back, the Pedro and the Villa going forward, pinning your opponent's left back and right back, and then creating space in the central areas. 4-2-4, it's basically a 4-4-2. That's basically what it is. I put it in, it should be here. We should have really created a new category, but I would probably say it's basically a 4-4-2. I mean, what's the best way I can explain this? On paper, it's a 4-4-2, but it doesn't have CDMs. So it's not the second variation. I think it has to go meta because it plays like a 4-4-2. So it would be an insult to put it here. It should be in between, but we're going to put it here. There's no difference. It's a tad bit more attacking and they're a bit more higher up. But that is basically it. That is left wings and right wings compared to left mids and right mids. And that is basically it. It's a bit more attacking, so it cannot be here because that would be very much an insult. 4-2-3-1, second variation. Again, I would say meta. It's similar to the 4-2-3-1, the one with the cams. Don't forget the Lam and the Ram and the 4-2-3-1 are basically wingers. In this one, it's basically left mids and right mids. So they just sit back a bit more defensively. And that is pretty much it. They just sit back defensively. And that's it. But you can have instructions on them. I made a video on this recently. You can have them on get in behind. You can have them on cut inside, come short. So you've got a lot of variation with that. So it definitely stays in that rank. Probably one of the most underrated formations. If you know what, it could probably even consider the God tier pro meta. There's even a debate if there should be another category where it should be in between these two. But I just don't think it's used that much because the 4-2-3-1 is a bit more attacking. 4-4-2 second variation, in my opinion, it's actually better than the 4-4-2 base because you have two CDMs. In FIFA 18, this formation was unbelievable because you had two CDMs. The cut passing, now if you're not good defensively, the cut passing lanes instructions will make this a top tier formation. So if you like the 4-4-2 but you can't defend, put cut passing lanes on the CDMs. It's basically like a cheat code. Has to be considered pro god tier meta. It's a bit more defensive compared to the 4-4-2, but still it's a top tier formation. I would probably say it's the exact same without the CDMs. It's just that defensively, it's a bit better than the 4-4-2 flat, whereas the 4-4-2 flat, the CDM is a position higher, so you can argue the 4-4-2 flat is better for pressing. So if you want to press, I would go for the 4-4-2. If you like the 4-4-2 to play for the entire game, the second variation is very, very good. Then we move over to the 4-1-2-1-2 second variation. Of course, God tier pro meta. In any FIFA, this is the creme de la creme. I don't think there's a FIFA where this formation wasn't good. I think maybe in FIFA 19 might have been the only formation where I didn't use it that much, but it's still fantastic. The narrow, we all know how it is. The two strikers, if it had, if there was a system where you could have, well then, I was going to say the system where you had two CDMs, but then it'll be the 4-2-2, right? It's a very, very narrow formation, but the left back and right back coming forward, defensively and offensively, is very, very good. This year, it was very, very good because you could, in FIFA 20, remember there was I think Dylan Mike again. Dylan Mike, I think about it, he's probably the innovator on the pro scene who experiments these tactics. And I remember he used the 4-1-2-1-2 where it defends in a 4-4-2 and 20 in, I think it was in February or something, but yes, it's still a very, very good meta formation. Creme de la creme, and there's no doubt about that over there. 4-5-1 second variation, I would say one of the best defensive formations in the game. I think it has 3 centre mids, it has no CDMs, so you could argue the 4-1-4-1 is better. I think MS Desara used to use this in FIFA 18, if I'm not mistaken. But it's very, very good because you defend with a 4 back and then a midfield 5. A lot of players prefer the 4-3-3, the second variation. I'm just going to double check this. Let me just double check this. Because people are going to prefer, I just want to double check, yes, it is a centre mid. The 4-1-4-1 has a CDM, so people are going to prefer that over the 4-5-1. But you could basically, this is basically like a 4-3-3. 3 centre mids, left mid and right mid, they just sit a bit deeper instead of wingers. So think of this like a defensive 4-3-3, but it doesn't have CDMs. Very, very good for possession style football and very, very good for actually closing out the game. A very underrated formation as well. You know what, we're going to call this category very good. We're going to call this very, very good. And then we're going to call this good. We're going to change it up, I think. We're going to change it up. Because there's no such thing as a bad formation, if that makes sense. 4-1-3-2, I would say here, 4-1-3-2 is basically, it's a weaker version of the 4-1-2-1-2. It's just 3 centre mid. So the only difference between the 4-1-2-1-2 wide and this is that instead of the centre mid, instead of a cam, it's a centre mid. It sits a bit deeper. I mean, you might as well just use the 4-1-2-1-2 with the cam. Yeah, it's an alright option. It's just a bit more conservative. You'll see a lot of these formations. As I said, there's so many similarities between so many formations. They're just different. Like one's got a CDM, one doesn't. In real life, you could argue all formations are effectively either 4-4-2 or 4-3-3. Some variation. In real life, every formation, in my opinion, is some variation of a 4-3-3 or 4-4-2. But in this one in particular, in FIFA, in real life, you can ask a CDM to do a certain thing. In in FIFA, for example, a CDM has to have a cut passing lane instruction, but a centre mid can't have the cut passing lane instruction. So that is why, for example, the 4-1-4, which I just easily go into now, I'm going to put this right next to the 4-5-1. The 4-1-4-1 is probably one of the best formations in the game for defending and closing out the lead, because you have, it's basically the 4-5-1 with a CDM. It's basically the 4-3-3 with a CDM with a left mid and right mid tucked in as opposed to wingers. So I would say this formation is superior over this one just because you have the CDM and you can use cut passing lanes. So although they appear to be very different, they're very much the same formation. It's just a slight position change, centre mid to CDM. As I said, in real life, these would be the same formations, but in FIFA, they're different. You can have CDM cut pass lane instructions. You can't put that on this centre mid, so it really does change the way that system is played. 4-3-1-2. I was gonna consider putting it in God tier pro meta, but I'll put it in meta. I think with the CDM and the 4-1-2-1-2 second variation, you have more stability. And just defensively, now for a pro player it's a bit different, but I think for the average consumer of this game, and that's why I attribute this whole list to the average consumer, because a pro, you know, a pro will, like, you know, there's ex pros that be playing 5-2-2-1, and if I put this over there, people are gonna be like, huh, that's not meta. So it's my opinion, but it also attributes a bit more to the masses. But yes, I would say it goes in meta because it is still a top. It's, you know, this whole list over here, these are all the top tier meta formations. This is just creme de la creme. Every single year it's going to be top tier meta. 4-3-3, I would say it's meta. It's basically a 4-2-3-1 without the center mid and without the CDMs. See that? You see the reoccurring things now. It's basically a 4-2-3-1 without the CDMs. You have a left wing and right wing that are a bit more further ahead, and you don't have CDMs. They're centre mid, so it sits a bit higher. So if you want a more attacking 4-2-3-1, then a 4-3-3 fourth variation is actually a very good option to go down. So that's why you can't put it in sub meta. It has to go in meta for that fact. And you can put the cam. Although the cam looks like it sits a bit deeper, you could put the cam on stay forward and it ends up becoming the 4-2-3-1. But realistically, the cam in a 4-2-3-1 sits higher compared to the cam in a 4-3-3 fourth variation. So that's why we're going to leave it in this category over here. 4-3-3 third variation, I think, is one of the best defensive formations in the game, period. I think no formation really comes close to it in terms of a defensive state. I think it very much is one of the best formations in terms of defending, because you've got two CDMs and you can defend in a 4-5-1 defensively and you can attack in a 4-3-3. A fantastic formation. You can argue it's a conservative 4-2-3-1 when you're attacking, but when you put drop between defenders as a center mid in that formation, it changes the system completely and ends up becoming a 5-2-3. Sorry, not a 5-2-3. Almost ends up becoming a 5. I was thinking about a 5-4-1, if that makes sense, because a left wing, right mid, left wing and right wing, they become left mid and right mid. So I got a video on this on my channel. Just type in best formation to stop counterattacks. But yes, you can argue this is a 4-2-3-1 just without that cam. So you lose a defensive attacking threat, but you keep the CDMs and you retain the more defense stability. It's probably what I would probably say. This formation is better than the 4-5-1 and the 4-1-4-1, just because of me personally. You have two CDMs. Now a lot of pros will prefer these two formations because the three center mids, they sit tightly together, whereas this one, the center mid's a bit in front. But for most people, even me, I prefer the cut passing lanes on the two center mids. It changes the way this formation is played. So you could argue it's on a very similar level. But because of the way it is, I think I have to put these both down to very good sub meta because of the way the ranking system is. So they're still meta, but they're not as good as these ones, because I think these are really flipping the script. 4-3-3 second variation. It's the best 4-3-3 because you have one CDM. I would say yes, very good. The only difference is you just have a CDM instead of a centre mid, similar to this one over here. I just realized you can't even see half this. So we're just going to add the new cards to the right hand side here. We're going to add the new cards over here just on the end. So that's the 4-3-3. The only difference is that you have two CDMs, as I mentioned. 4-3-3, you have it's just a flat formation with no CDMs. 4-3-3 second variation, it has one CDM. So this is the more attacking out of the three. This is the more attacking out of the three. This is the kind of the mid tier with one CDM, and this is the more defensive out of this. And sorry, this one is the most defensive out of the three. You know what? Let's shift some of these along over here just to make it a bit more clear for the new entries. So we're going to put the 4-3-3 here, 4-3-3 there, and the 4-3-3 there. So we're going to give you a bit of an insight, and I'll explain to you differences. 4-3-2-1 has to go into meta. I think that speaks for itself. One of the best meta formations in the game. I don't think anyone can really contest with that 4-3-2-1. I wouldn't say it's the best meta system, but I definitely think it deserves its place in the meta category. You know, with the left forward and right, especially this year with the left forwards and right forwards, it's really become a top tier meta formation. If this had a CDM, let's say this 4-3-2-1 had a CDM, let's say you had a 4, to be technically called a 4-3-2-1 second variation, but if it had a CDM there, two centre mids, left forward, right forward, and a striker, I genuinely believe that would be one of the best formations in FIFA as well, but it doesn't exist, unfortunately. FIFA, can you please release that formation next year, potentially? Thank you. 5-4-1, I would say a very good defensive formation. Attacking, it's actually not that bad either, because you can have the left back and right back on overlap, the left mid and right mid on cut inside, and it ends up becoming like a 4-3-3. This is kind of a park the bus formation, because you have a back 5, a midfield 4, and then a 1. You know, my 3-5-2 was actually defensively was based off this before they patched it, but that doesn't work anymore. But the 3-5-2, if anyone remembers my video from FIFA 20, I made the best formation in FIFA. 3-5-2 when you're attacking, and then when you defend, it was a 5-4-1. Anyone remember that? 5-4-1, it was unbelievable, but they patched that. So, but 5-4-1 is a part of the bus formation. Of course, I don't recommend playing it. It can still be used, but unfortunately, it goes to good because it's not going to be considered a meta. 5-2-1-2. This is god tier pro meta. It's basically a 4-1-2-1-2 second variation without a CDM, but the left back and right back, when they go forward, they're unmarked. If you like the 4-1-2-1-2 second variation, this is a cracked version of this. You know, a pro will eventually use this formation, and you're gonna see. You know, I made a video on this last week. Just you expect 5-2-1-2 videos coming on YouTube very, very soon, because this is a meta that people have just forgotten, and it's so fun to play. And if you're, and I remember this formation in FIFA 19. I know. I'll see if I can find that video. I made it in the mind of an elite player video in FIFA 19. Let's see if I can find it. I was on my second account, NealGuides 2. What's going on, guys? Yeah, it's this one over here. It's this one over here. July 19th. This is when I made. I don't think you're gonna be able to see it actually. Let's have a look. Can you see it? Oh yes, you can. You can. So this was it. You can't see it. July 2019. It was on my second channel, NealGuides 2. But you know, against even a top tier team. What team was I using? I don't even know. I was using my main team. But you know, when you go forward, it's just so good because, you know, I'll explain to you over here. Look at the left back and right back. They are basically unmarked. You can just pass the ball to them, guaranteed. This is what I meant by in FIFA 19. If a pro used this, they would have probably destroyed the entire pro scene. But yes, so that's why it goes to meta. People don't know how meta this formation is, but eventually they will. 4-2-2-1, I would put it in very good sub meta because it doesn't have two strikers. I think it's still a very good formation, but I just think because it hasn't got two strikers, it just cannot go into the meta category, and definitely not in a god tier pro meta. But if you like the 4-5-1, the left mid and right mid, but you like the left back and right back overlap, it will definitely go in that system. That I can very much assure you. 3-4-1-2, the attacking, as I like to call it, the attacking 3-5-2. It's basically a 3-5-2 without CDMs. So attacking, it's a bit better offensively because the CDMs sit higher in theory, even though it doesn't make that much of a difference because you've got a strike and a cam, so the CDM positions won't be too much of a falter. Maybe if you have the center mid on join the attack, will make a difference. It's basically the 3-5-2 without the CDMs. So defensively, you do lose that stability. We're going to put that formation last, 3-4-3. Now, if EA, I don't know why on earth they don't do this. That 3-4-3, now listen, this could be the best formation in FIFA that's ever been created. But there's no 3-4-3 diamond. But you play pro clubs, the 3-4-3 diamond. If you could have left wing, right wing, striker, cam, left centre mid, right centre mid, CDM, that's the Pep Guardiola formation. And that, I think they don't put it in FIFA because they know that will be the best formation that will ever be ever there. That is so OP. Why don't I have a diamond in Ultimate Team? I actually have no idea. You know, EA, if you're watching this, please introduce a 3-4-3 diamond, please, in FIFA 23. But the 3-4-3, it's got no CDMs, two centre mids, and I find that the midfield area is just isolated. It's good for base people down the wing, but the midfield area, I generally think you're just very much isolated, to be honest. And that is why I genuinely can't 1000% just suggest it to everyone. It just very much isolates the midfield. It hasn't got two strikers. The left back and right back and the left mid and right mid, they're very close together. Sometimes there's that confusion. But the left back and right back, they don't stay wide. Some of the left mid and right mid, they just stay there. The left wing and right wing, should I say. I don't know. If I had two CDMs, I think it's a bit different. One striker for me. It's not meta, but it's still a very good formation. Would not use, there's nothing really going there because I still use them. 4-2-2. That goes, of course, to meta, maybe even considering God tier pro meta. Is very, very similar to the 4-2-2. Very, very similar to the 4-2-2. So 4-2-2 and 4-4-2 is very, very similar, should I say. There's not that much. You know, at the end we'll order these in what's best in ascending order, if that makes sense. Oh my god, this video is 30 minutes long. This is why coaching is actually very difficult, by the way. Because in coaching, I'm speaking non-stop, and coaching, especially for me, because I like to be quite exuberant. I really like to, you know, put on my theatrics, I suppose you can say, from what I learned from my drama teacher to get my point across. Coaching becomes very taxing. You know, for those that do speeches professionally as your career, you would know what I'm talking about. But that's why coaching, I don't do that much coaching 1v1s because it is very taxing to speak for that long. But anyway, yes, the difference between the 4-2-2 and the 4-4-2, it does have CDMs. So it's basically like a 4-4-2 second variation, except for they're just lambs and rams. You can argue it's a bit more attacking than this formation. This is like the attacking, then it goes, so in terms of like, this would be the attacking. So maybe you can argue these are on the same level maybe. And then you can argue the 4-4-2 CDM variation is over there. So that's the most defensive. And it goes attacking, even more attacking. But you can argue these are on the same level. The left mid and right mids, you can assign them on stay wide, cut inside, get in behind. You can't do that on a 4-2-2, but the 4-2-2 just plays a bit better, and they're a tiny bit more attacking because they're a bit more narrower. You'll understand if you use it. And you can also just put them on stay forward, and they just kind of pin in a different way. I'll make a video on a 4-2-2 and 4-4-2 differences, but either one is fine. Coming up to our last two now. 3-4-2-1. I think meta sub meta. I think again it's the 4-5-1 issue. It doesn't have two strikers. I want it to have two strikers. It doesn't have two CDMs. You know, it's basically a 3-4-3. I mean, it's better than a 3-4-3 for sure. Maybe I'll even consider moving 3-4-3 into this category just because the 3-4-2-1 is better than the 3-4-3. If this was a diamond, it would be a different situation. But because this has a 3-4-2-1, I think I might actually move this to good. And then we come to the best attacking formation in the game. You know, people don't understand this, but I need to actually draw this out for you. Because I think if I don't draw it out, no one will understand. I think I have to draw it out. I think I have to draw it out. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. So, I don't even know if you guys can see this. Let's have a look. Can you guys see this? You can't. Okay. What we're gonna do is, one second, we're just gonna change to Chrome, and then we're gonna put this over there. Okay, let's change how this works, because I need to show you this, because you won't understand until now. There'll be a video on this, but you won't understand until I explain to you. The 4-2-3-1, let's say you have a typical 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1. The issue is that you either don't have two strikers, or if you have two strikers, you don't have a cam. So you want to have another striker. Remember I explained to you the issue with why I created that 4-2-3-1 extra striker formation, because I wanted someone else to play there. And if you play a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, let's say you play a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, like this, you don't have a CDM. I mean, you don't have two CDMs. And then the left mid and right mid, left back, they don't go forward too much. So you lose a left mid and right mid. And then you think, I want a 4-2-3-1. I want a formation where I can have all of them. So the 3-5-2, let's put it back into a 4-4. I know the numbers are completely out of whack, but let's go back to the 4-4-2 system. Now, the 3-5-2, you move a player in defense. We're going to put him over there. But what that means now is you have a cam. Now, if you think about it, let's see if this is actually going to work. Let's draw this. It's a 4-4-2 with the cam. The missing player that you always wanted. Okay? It's a 4-2, well, the attacking phase anyway. It's a 4-2, the 4-2-3-1 with an extra striker. And it's the 4-1-2-1-2. Now the way this will work is the center mid, these big guys become CDMs slash like center mids. That becomes like that. Left mid and right mid. And now it becomes the 4-1-2-1-2 with the left mid and right mid. So it's always, in my opinion, the best formation that has ever been created. In terms of attacking formations, it's definitely the best formation in terms of that. It's just very much underrated. And that is why it has to go to the creme de la creme. Now, I would be honest with you, chat. I think we're gonna now change this up a little bit. Let's just realign this. What would go where, and how would I really do this? So, if I zoom in like this, best formation 4-2-2. I would probably say 3. This would be my personal opinion now. This is the way that I would lay it out. With my personal choice. Best formation in the game, 4-4-2, 3-5-2, 4-4-2 second variation. 5-2-1-2 over the 4-1-2-1-2 and 4-2-2 there because you got the 4-4-2s there. Maybe you can even argue like that. That's the way I probably would do it for the best formation ever, and the last here would be the worst, okay? Then we go 5-3-2, 4-2-4, 4-1-2-1-2. Four two four, 4-1-2-1-2. 1-3-4-1-2. I'd set out these ones. One with the CDMs. And go down. That can go to about here-ish. 5-1. I would still prefer that over the 5-2-2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 4-1. It's a CDM. That one's got the CDM. 4-4-1-1. That's got the center forward. That would go there. Do you know what? It'd probably be like this actually. These will move up. Actually, no, it won't. I'll put, because one's got center for one as it. These will go. We'll move them here actually, because I would prefer. So I'm just doing an order preference now. 4-3-3-2 CDMs, 1 center mid, 4-1-4-1. Bit too defensive for my liking. But it goes above there. That's a defensive formation. So it's hard because some of them, like, I would use if this was in terms of the most defensive formation, this could probably be over there. Do you know what I mean? If we're talking about the most defensive formation, because we're talking about the balanced formation. 4-3-3, 4-9, 2-1-4-2, 3-4-2-1. Where is my maybe we move the blitz formation higher. And then a false 9. It's tough, chat. It's tough. 5-2-2-1. I would prefer this one over this, and then no, this has to go. Because these are basically like 4-2-3-1s. These two formations. Maybe even argue like this. This will be the one that I won't use. Then in the order, it will be like 1 center mid. Don't like it. I think that's the way I'll lay it out, chat. We don't even need would not use. That will be from A to Z the most meta formations in FIFA 22. I don't think I could actually do it any better. I think. I'm just going to double check. There's probably going to be a mistake that I made in 4-2-2, 5-2-1-2, 5-1-2, 4-3-1. Maybe even consider this over that one. Maybe, but just for the masses, we'll probably leave it like that. Okay, chat. I think this is the final. See, this is where it gets confusing because it has to be up there. It can't be that low down. You see? Do you know what? I'll probably end up spending all day chopping and changing this. But you know what? We'll stick with this. I'm pretty sure I'll end up chopping and changing. But that will be the meta formation tier list and we've taken into account for both attacking and defensive phase in the game. 45 minutes long. Let's just consider this a coaching session in terms of formations. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. And don't forget, chat, this video is sponsored by... I'm also throwing my plug in now. The final plug, should I say, rather. This video is sponsored by my FIFA School Series, if I can find it, that is. Yeah, I can't. I don't even know. Hang on. I've got so many tabs open, I don't even know which one's which. So we're going to try this again. No? Yes? There we go. This video is sponsored by my FIFA School Series. If you do want to get better at FIFA, you can come join my FIFA School Series. Don't forget, chat. It's a money back guarantee. So, why am I saying chat like I'm chewing? But it's a money back guarantee. If you don't get better, come join hundreds of others. You know, if you don't get better, and look, the assisted jockeying is being patched, but I've been ahead of the meta, and I've created videos, 3 different jockeying types, and I've explained to you the fix and how to get around that. So, if you want to be one step ahead before the jockeying gets messed up next week, click on that. More information on that, and obviously the footage from Division 10 all the way to Elite Division, that series. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out, boys.